Hello, this is Dian Pan. I'm the founder for Haddee Education. I want to welcome Dr. Wu and all the parents and students to join our Friday night Zoom event. Dr. Wu will have a brief introduction about his background, and then I will take over and spend a couple minutes and talk about Haddie, and then I'll give the screen to Dr. Wu, and he will get into details about his research program, and we will save last 10-15 minutes for FAQ. Parents and students can type questions in Chinese or English in the chat or can ask later on or once his presentation completes. Okay, Dr. Wu, welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Dan. I want to thank all the participants for taking the Friday night or early morning in China to join the meeting. Really appreciate your time and effort. So let me share. You can see my screen, right? So I Dan asked me to do a self-introduction. So my background is that I grew up in mainland China. I went to Lanzhou University in 1981. I graduated from Lanzhou University 1985. I stayed there for 3 years before I went to Canada. And I went to Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario, Canada. I did my master, my PhD on plant biology. So I graduated in 1994. Then I came to US. And when I came to US, I had a decision to make. I no longer wanted to study plant anymore. I said, I need to switch. What research area I want to switch? There's a cancer, immunology, and neuroscience. I gave it some like a very long, hard thinking. Then I decided to take on neuroscience. It's like I really didn't know what I'm getting into that, right? Then I spent like a 1 year in the National Institute of Health and followed by moving to UT Southwestern Medical Center at Dallas, where I officially started my neuroscience career. We stayed in Dallas for 3 years. Then we moved to Stanford University and stay in Stanford University for about like 9 years. That's where I really fall in love with neuroscience. Since 2009, I moved to UCSD. I become an independent investigator. I devote all my research focus on neurodegenerative diseases. And so here I am. So let's give this back to Dan. Yeah, muted.
Thank you, Dr. Wu, for your brief introduction. You have a very impressive background. So I just want to spend 2 minutes. And most of the parent students know who we are, but still some very new to Haddie. Um, I'm the founder for Haddie Education, and you can see we have the address in San Diego, and we have two centers, one in San Diego, one in Berkeley. I used to live in San Diego for 27 years. Now I'm at Berkeley. I moved here because both of my son boys got accepted at UC Berkeley, and now they all graduated. My younger one just graduated in December, and he got accepted by some top PhD programs. Now he has to make some decision. For next chapter of his life. With all said, I founded the company in 2020 during COVID to help our teachers, and I'll give you a very brief background. And if you see about us, I'll share the link. Hattie is named after our dog. Very cute, right? And we have a nice story here. And this is our mobile website. And if you search, we offer a variety of the program. Yeah, so all kinds of programs from research to speed reading. And I'm also reading War and Peace every day with our teacher, Miss Pond, who is also our counselor. I think that's very interesting. We offer very different programs from many, many other companies. And you can see our review. We have about 275 now. I'm going to hit 300 pretty soon. Every single review is very genuine and authentic. Okay. And here's also the one I shared, Dr. Wu's program. So with all said, thank you again, Dr. Wu, and all the parents, students today. And I will have you provide a full presentation about your program, Dr. Wu.
Thank,
Mhm,
thank you, Dan Dan. So you can see my slide, right? My
mhm,
Okay. So again, my name is Chenbiao Wu. Currently, I'm a faculty at the Department of Neuroscience at University of California, San Diego. And beside my research effort, one of the passion I have is to really interact, training, mentoring young people. And ever since I came to UCSD, you probably can't count how many undergraduate students came to my lab. So the student came and a lot of them go on to do medical school, to do PhDs in neuroscience. And and also for the past 5 or 6 years, me and Dr. Linda Shi of Institute of Engineer Medicine at UCSD, and I am a co-director for the OPAL program. It's an outreach program direct towards local high school students. Sometimes we get students from international, from other states. So the program growing really well. But the motivation to set up a neuroscience Pacific Center program, it's really has some thinking relate to that. One thing is the neuroscience is fast evolving. It's also one of the area attracting a lot of attentions. So, and also the skills, the thinking, the the way of we think about neuroscience is a little bit different from cancer, from like immunology. So there's some very specific aspect neuroscience. I think the if you're really interested into neuroscience, this is probably a program to get into. So basically, the this is our mission statement: is to provide a foundational understanding of the fundamental principles of neuroscience. So we will dive into the structure, function of the nervous system, with a particular emphasis on neurodegenerative diseases. Then the goal, so this is what really dear to my heart, is to help the student, the high school student, doesn't really matter like to me. Like if they want to start young, I had no problem. Really think we are at the stage of our AI, but the critical and analytical skill is very important to evaluate contemporary research and to master really the essence of biomedical research. So this is what I'm hoping to achieving with the program, right? So let me quickly run some slides to get everybody some like a background, and feel free to stop me like at any moment. So I think most of you probably know why we want to study neuroscience, right? Neuroscience is really the last frontier of human biology, right? So we made so much progress in cancer, in immunology, in many areas, but neuroscience is still very much lagging behind cancer. Some people estimate 40 years behind cancer, right? So on top of that, we interested in neuroscience. We want to cure disease. And everybody heard Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, stroke, brain injury. And all these diseases, many of them, we don't have a good treatment. This require we really study neuroscience, understand all the fundamental processes in our brain. And what make us different from other animals, creatures, or even from plant, we want to understand human behavior, like emotion, thought, decision making. And very importantly, like understand neuroscience will help us to to maintain better health, mental health. Like we want to understand addiction, we want to understand cognitive function, right? And you all heard Elon Musk Neuralink. So this is the neuroscience development will foster novel technologies like artificial intelligence, neuroprosthetics, right? So they're probably novel brain-machine interface. And to me, I think the most important thing, most I found exciting aspect of neuroscience, we will unleash our creativity and ingenuity in ourselves. This is can't be replaced by the machine, right? So I read a lot of stuff. Then this is what I can combine. Neuroscience is not only confined to the area of like people interested in medicine, interested in biology. So you can see like Harvard Medical School, of course, they want to understand the brain, resilience, and mindfulness. In the middle is Wharton School of UPenn. They want to understand the brain so that they can use neuroscience to deliver better business result. On the right is MIT. It's the same thing. So you can now I hope you can appreciate the the utility of neuroscience. If we enter better neuroscience, if we can make a better decision, not in our personal life, maybe in business, in many other aspects, right? So now, like one of the reasons I really interested in neurosciences, when my son was little, we live in the Bay Area. On the weekend, I always take the trolley to Children Discovery Museum San Jose, right? When I walk into this museum, there's a banner hanging in the big hall. So this is what I vividly remember. A human mind is a terrible thing to waste, right? So I will come back to this and think about human mind. This is a compilation of many creatures on the planet. The the last one, the biggest one is the human brain, right? So the mouse, our brain weight about like a 1.5 kilogram. And yet our brain is not the largest brain on the planet. You look at the two pictures on the right, the African elephant has a bigger have a bigger brain than our human. Then why our human conquer the whole world? We are at the top of the food chain, right? So this is just like to me, always a mystery. People say like, why this happened? There's so many theories. I just don't find any of them is convincing because I really don't think we understand our own brain that well, right? Then this is a piece of a human brain, I think done by the Allen Institute, Brain Institute. So they now can map 1 cubic millimeter human brain. So this is like you can see the brain neurons, and to me, I can never get enough of like that. This is so beautiful, right? So you think about painting, you can just paint um, mountains, waters, rivers, and then the forest. But this is like what's living in our human brain. Then if you look at microscopically, this is how the neuron look. And I can't appreciate enough the beauty, the structure of our human brain. And besides the beauty of the brain, humans, our neurons, they they communicate each other. They learn things, they store the memory through the structure we call synapse. So it's two neurons talking to each other. Sometimes they use electric signal, sometimes they use chemical signal. Think about how many of this we can have. This is a more like a more like a high resolution look what happened in the synapse. I just want to people to appreciate the mass. So average adult human brain is 1,300,000 cubic millimeters. The two pictures down there is only 1 cubic millimeters. So if there are 150 million synapses per cubic millimeter, we will have almost 200 trillion synapses, right? And my math is I totally like I used to be really good at math. Now this number I can't just compute that in my brain. 200 trillion synapses. So each synapse can be different, and I just don't think if we had a computer, we invent a computer can do all the calculation, can mimic the brain process yet. So maybe we will never be able to do that, right? So that's a different story. So now like I want to talk about AI. So artificial intelligence in the past, especially the past few years, is just really taking over our life, right? So you can have the automated driving. Now like you can ask a computer to do some the very intelligent design, all that. So I think eventually AI will be a driving force for us to understand neuroscience. But also I discussed this with Dan briefly. Don't let AI to take over our brain, right? So think about each person is different. Our brain uniquely structured, uniquely function. This cannot be mimicked by AI. So I always joking with people, I say, when let's like I think when Albert Einstein was during his time, say AI became available. Do you think Albert Einstein can come up with the idea of relativity? So chances are probably not because AI depends on language models. If the existing knowledge is not there, AI cannot make anything novel. Normal. You can disagree with me. This is my personal impression. Not only that, this is a new study done by MIT. So now you know many people, whenever they have problem, they go chat GPT, right? And look at what happened. So if you let ChatGPT do all the writing for you, and your brain began to degenerate. So basically our cognitive function will give away to the computer, right? So one very important principle in neuroscience, like like a life, everything else, use it or lose it. If we don't use our brain, we're gonna lose it. If we just like outsource all the thinking to AI, eventually our brain will become a shell. So this is you can disagree with me. This is something I feel very strongly. Using AI to help you to make your brain sharper, to come up with disruptive technology ideas, but never let AI to take over your brain. So that's the message, and I want to like come across. Also, I want like if you want to like, discuss more, I'm more than happy to discuss more. So my guiding principle is the four C's. I think many of you know that the critical thinking part in the class, in the program, This is one of the theme I want to come back to visit over and over and over again. And this is also a hard lesson. When I grew up in China, we never taught to have our independent thinking. So took me many, many years to get used to, also to appreciate how this ability, developing this ability is so important for your career, for whether you decide to do science or whether you want to do medicine, even any other things. So you have to have your own independent ideas, right? So in order to do that, you need to someone guide you, for example, you look at your social media almost every day they found a new treatment for Alzheimer's disease. The next day they say, oh yeah, like drinking green tea cure your Alzheimer's disease. So if you don't think deeper, if you don't have the analytical abilities, you probably think, yeah, now we don't have Alzheimer's disease anymore. It all get treated, but the fact is not, right? So this is things I don't know, how many Chinese parents on the Zoom. So the essence is you need 透过现象看本质. So this is something very important. Along with the critical thinking, that will come to creativity. In other words, innovation, whatever you call. I want them to think differently, come up with new ideas. People never thought about that before. So this is require some training, also require practice every day. When you see something, you always want to see, is that really true? What other possibility I can use to explain the neuroscience, right? For example, particularly, right? And after that, I want them to develop effective communication skills. This is very important for Asian student. When one of the reason I think I taught everybody I see, I bring this up. I have been doing medical school interview applicant for UCSD for many, many years. So on average, each year, we probably have like a 30% applicant. I can tell by the last name. It's like whether it's Chinese, Korean, or like Vietnam, whatever. But the interview skill is not it's not there. So most of these Asian students suffer because they can't talk to a stranger in 5 minutes, get his idea, her idea to cross effectively. So the communication skill is very important. In science, that means you put together a poster, you go to a conference, you present your result, right? So this is the things that my guiding principle in the program. This is what I want to impress upon the student. So in terms of the class, what we want to do is three major aims. So we want to really dive into the fundamentals of fundamentals. So this can be for neuroscience, but more importantly, neuroscience is still biology. So I want to teach them the central dogma of biology, how the DNA replicate, what's the human genome project, and how we can target each different step to intervene. In the case of neurodegenerative diseases, just draw this on the board. You come up with some ideas where you think we can target for neurodegenerative diseases, right? So that link to the second part. For many neurodegenerative diseases, there's modifiable factors, there's genetic factors, right? Modifiable factors like, yeah, just watch your diet, exercise. These are it's easy to accomplish. But what if you carry some genetic variant? This require you go into look at each variant individually, try to figure out the biology, the process, biochemistry process then figure out what's the first um, deficit or the dysfunction you can figure out. Then that can potential the target for treating the disease rather than preventing the disease rather than treating the disease, right? Then like we want to talk about brain plasticity. This is probably controversial. For example, some like psychos, some cannabis, right? There's people think taking some cannabis is good for your brain, make you remember better. There's also some other drugs like ketamine, like psilocybin, and there's a evidence for that. There's also evidence against that, right? So I want the student to learn how to look at the imbalance. That if you or how you can do like a design method to prove one way or the other, right? So I don't want them to be a yes man, to be a follower. I want them to stand on the shoulder of the previous scientists, then come up with a new thinking, new ideas to move neuroscience forward. Then lastly, we already touched upon using AI and machine learning to solve many neuroscience problems, right? So I already touched upon that. The neuroscience require AI, right? AI going to be indispensable in our research in many aspects, research in neuroscience, but they can only make our research better. I don't want AI taking over our research. One of the um, report I read few days ago. So National Institute of Health, they conduct a study about a grant they funded since 2023. So that was when many investigators began to using AI, using ChatGPT to help them to write the grant. So the end result is people using AI increase their success rate by 5% or something. I don't remember. Maybe even 5% is still like a non-small improvement. However, when they look at the scientific ideas of this funded research, the lack of innovation, the lack of novelty. In other words, many grants become very homogeneous. So this is counterproductive in my mind because I want yeah, let me see. So so I want our next generation of neuroscientists have independent thinking, come up with novel ideas, and can solve the problem just by solely relying on AI. Our brain stop thinking, stop like making creative ideas, then that we will never get there. AI can't help us to treat the Alzheimer's disease. If that's true now, we should already treat the Alzheimer's disease. So again, this is like a very brief rundown about the program, and I want to end with the mission and the goal again. So I I think that they originally I put this slide together. I want to spend more time to answer questions, right? So this is a very like a quick rundown. If you have question on any details or any issues, I'm more than happy to address.
Thank you, Dr. Wu. Very nice presentation. I learned a lot. I never seen a picture of brain.
I see. Yeah.
It's marvelous. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I actually, during the brief introduction, I forgot to share two programs very quickly because those are
Yeah.
in-person program.
Yeah.
If students are interested in summer camp
Yeah.
for AI, more on
Yeah.
double E and the computer
Mhm.
science at UC Berkeley, we have the link. That's
Mhm.
mainly for high school students, but we also had a college student join as well. And then we also have college students that we are going to do 2 months near UC Berkeley. That's in our office. We're going to work a project together, more kind of training and internship, and we'll work on academic paper and also file patents. So I will send this both links to the chat group. And if you guys are interested, you can get more further information. And we also have a video recording also from a UCSD instructor, Mr. Morrow. So before we get into the Q&A sessions, I want to talk about just very briefly my own experience. From a parent point of view, my son, a younger son, just graduated from UC Berkeley in December. Just graduated with double major computer science and math. I want to share with you, he has some great offers for PhD, top schools, and he's very happy. And so far, there are 3 programs, top tier. He got offer from 2 of them, and the other one he's waiting. So from his experience, in the college level, the research, of course, is very, very important. Not only for pursuing advanced study like master and PhD, also for job recruiting. And one very small anecdote is that he started at UC Berkeley to study computer science. So he got into a Berkeley Artificial Intelligence Lab, BEAR Lab, and he published 4 papers during the summer on robotics. Even though later on he's done with CS, he moved on to math. He has about 1,800 citations from his paper. And recruiters like Tesla, TikTok, and many other companies are looking at the publication list and looking at the citation, and they called him for a job. So my trying to tell you here is that many students do not know whether they will pursue PhD. It's a long, long road. It's a big commitment. After PhD, we have postdoc. Right? For most science, basic science research, right? So it's another 10, 15 years, right? And not many of you will probably know that you want to become a medical doctor, right? Dr. Wu is an expert and you're doing all the interviews for UCSD. However, one thing I can tell you that scientific research at the high school level, as a high school student and also college student will be very, very useful, not only for advanced study, but also for job recruiting, because all the skills that Dr. Wu highlighted, the 4 skills are reflected in the scientific research. But right now, scientific research is going to get much more value because I'm not an official college counselor, but I work with many experienced college counselors. We support a lot of students and helping them apply for colleges and graduate schools and some a young age for private high schools. And this year, we have results coming from early decision and early action from public schools and some private schools. So far, we have kind of figured out if a student has long-term research in high school, that this really help. And those are hardcore research. They're not fake research, okay? Why they're not faking? They can't fake it because now we're going back to the AI topic. Top colleges like Caltech, they are hiring AI to do interview. If you put a research in your profile, college applications, Caltech is getting AI to talk to you about your research. So nobody can fake it. Before, we all do interview. I do Cornell interview, but it's more a general interview. And sometimes it's hard for colleges admission office to figure out what you actually did. Now, if students are involved in research, it's a hardcore real research, okay? So that's what you're going to undertake with Dr. Wu. The third thing I want to emphasize here is we do have a kind of the internship program at UCSD, and we have students to apply. But that OPALS research program, it's more a 1 month and being led by undergraduate students or graduate students. And however, and it's a short-term program, either 1 month or 2 months. Here we go. You have 1 year access to Dr. Wu, top professor. So that's a difference from the our program with whatever the UCSD internship program. We're promoting UCSD internship program as well. It's completely different. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here. And students and parents, you have any questions about Dr. Wu's program? You can type or you can unmute.
Yeah. Talk.
Talk is
So
better.
talk, turn your camera on if you're a student. I want you like a start like a practice this. Don't be shy. And so if you like a nervous, shy, can't put the three sentences together to a stranger, I'm not like a look like a monster or anything. Like try to, I'm a very friendly person. If you ask everybody ever working with me, so try to get into a good habit. I keep telling people when I was your age, I'm like a very shy too. I'm never allowed to talk to speak, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. We have so the program will start in I think we have a date. Yeah, students already registered, one student starting. So it will be March. Let me see. Choose. Okay. Here you go. March 7th. So the how we structure is March 7th to April 25th. It's 8 week. It's small group classes. It's not going to be a lot of students, okay? And Dr. Wu will share some key information about the neuroscience and making sure everybody has fundamental knowledge to pursue independent research, right? And then will be more like anytime email, and then Dr. Wu will set up office hours. The students can access Dr. Wu and ask questions. And we would encourage that we do, help students with different projects and research. We would encourage students to do group research. I think it's very, very good. And, so Dr. Wu, maybe you can talk a little bit about how you want to structure the program. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I think like doing research. Like like I don't know how many parents or how many students actually work in a wet lab. So research by itself is a required time commitment, right? Also, if we start like the cells, you can't just say, oh yeah, I can only come in on the weekend. The cell gonna die. So you really need to make a time commitment. This is why Dan says collaboration is important. So I want like to a student to work together as a team. And remember the 4 C's, I didn't mention collaboration, but collaboration in science is very important.
Very important.
So last night I talked to my student about Huntington disease. And Dr. Nancy Wessler managed to put together 100 scientists in the 1970s, 80s. Those 100 scientists worked together, discover the genes, right? So the working as a team collaboration also reflect very importantly about your leadership, your organizational skill, and your how you can like accommodate other people. So even though you don't appreciate this, by the time you apply for college, these skills will carry the student a long way, right?
Yeah. So I also have a question. Some parent is very concerned about first author versus second author, right?
Yeah.
Our
Mhm.
general approach is whoever the contribution is most will be a little bit ahead of the name. And then if you're all equal, it's really based on the last name, okay? But that's from the company point of view because we work with quite a few
Mhm.
professors. That's how we put it. But Dr. Wu, what is your approach of the first author? And it's really that important. Mhm.
So it is important, right? So the way I So let me say this up front. Like this, we do a collaboration of three people as a team. Whoever contribute to the idea, whoever contribute to complete the experiment more, right, should be the first author. And in order to do that, I can't stress enough. Student take a good note, write everything down what they do, right? So this is not like I say, um, I really put the extra work on student. It's really for them for their self protection. So then later you get into a dispute like I say, I contribute more, I contribute more, but where's the evidence, right? So this is like a for say we're talking about author. Later they can get into a dispute about patent, right? If you don't write down, you don't date your note, you don't have a piece of paper in front of the judge, in front of the lawyer, nobody gonna believe you. It's your word against my word. Who they gonna believe? So I can't say enough. What's the Chinese saying? 一个烂笔头胜过你的那个大脑。So trust me, I think even my UCSD undergraduate student I have in my lab, I said, write everything down, write everything down. They refuse to do that. They pull out their phone, right? They take a picture. They say, oh, I already know. That doesn't help you. The picture doesn't help you to learn how to do research. Really, what they say, writing is the thinking. Writing will help you to learn better. Also, more importantly, later if there's any question about the authorship, you can just put yours against mine. Then we can let other people to decide. So that's a fair system. I want the student to have that at the very beginning, and then later we will avoid the authorship issues, right? If you really care, I want to be the first author, then you need to make the time and commitment. You need to really come up with your own ideas. So I'm more than happy to help you to refine your hypothesis, but I don't want to do the thinking for you, right? The same thing, I don't want AI to do the thinking for you. This should go back to Dan's very talk a few minutes ago. Doing research in a lab requires different type of thinking, right? So it's not like you get into the car, you have like a brake, you have gas. But thinking can be more complicated. So if you read paper, you began to have some ideas, you had to put into a hypothesis. The hypothesis had to be tested by experiment. When you had to design the experiment step by step, there's a logic, right? When you first look at biology is so messy, right? Nobody know the head and tail. They just come to the lab, work like 18 hours a day. I don't want you to do that. I want you to use your brain to think through very carefully. What's the question you want to ask? How are you going to address that? When you collect the data, you do analyze, then is the data really supporting your hypothesis? If that's not, then then like what's the next step? This going back and forth will instill the essence of doing research for you. The sooner you learn, the better off you will be, right? So I don't want my UCSD student, they come into the lab, they're waiting for me, like, what should I do today? I getting so tired. Then why you can't use your own brain to think about? Get an idea, come to talk to me, right? So I'm not saying a high school student should do that, but I want to train you to get into a habit. We can discuss a project, we can discuss a disease. You really have to think long and hard. What's the gap? What's the knowledge gap, right? So what I can do to prove that gap or to fill that gap. So that's basically the essence of research, right?
Yeah.
So
Ver- mhm.
yeah,
Very
go
good.
ahead, go ahead then. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think quite a few parents are asking about the wet data and the dry data
Yeah.
and whether they will access the lab. So we talk about this research program
Yeah.
will be online. It's not
Hmm.
going to go into the lab. That's why we open up to all parents from all over the world. Otherwise, we won't open up. It will be very restrictive to the San Diego student. However, some of the data will come from your lab, right? Dr. Wu, you want to
Yes.
elaborate?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think Andy asked a question. We will accept eighth grader, right?
Yeah, that's a
And
different question. Yeah.
that's a different. So
Yeah.
in terms of the dry lab data or the wet lab data,
hmm
so we do a lot of wet lab research. Like for example, we generate a lot of brain images, cells, and if you just say like, I don't really want to do this experiment by myself, but I want to help to analyze the data using machine learning to help you to count the cells, then we can transmit the data to you. You can process the data. We get the data back. Then we can write a paper, right?
hmm
In that case, you can't be the primary author because the person that did the hard work can be the primary author, right? So so I don't want to disappoint some parents say, oh yeah, like we helping you, why you can't put my son or my daughter name as the first author. I think science is also by being fair, right? If I put your daughter, your son to be a first author, what about the other people? So I want to treat everybody the same. The wet lab, again, I want to go back. So after we talk about some lectures, then I can post some questions. I say, this is the question. I think you want to design a experiment, or you can come up with your own idea. I say I want to test air pollution affecting Alzheimer's disease, right? Of course, that's a huge medical need, but how exactly you can do test that in a laboratory, right? So you're gonna have to think like rather than using human, we can't use human. You can't even use animal. Can we use the cells? When you use the cells, how we can do bring the pollution into a cell, right? So this is all the detail you need to think through. If you spend time come up with the outline of that experiment, I will be more than happy to assist you. That you need this cell, we can provide this cell. You want to do this experiment, we can help you do this. In the end, you are the primary author, right?
Mm, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like a really deep case by case depend. We make that determination, right?
That's wonderful. Yeah. So for research, like, some students say, oh, I'm really interested in topic, right? What's
Yeah,
the feasibility of narrowing down that topic? Probably many kids are interested in
yeah,
teenager break, depression, right? It's
yeah.
a
Hold
big,
on for a
big,
second. Let me.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's a gigantic topic for teenager depression, right?
yeah,
I'm not a scientist here, so
yeah,
but
yeah,
I've done some research myself in my
yeah,
own field. You got to
yeah,
narrow down to a
yeah,
hypothesis
yeah.
that can be feasibly,
Right.
practically
Yeah.
executed by getting the data and
Right.
then to prove whether your hypothesis works or not, right, Dr. Wu?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, totally. That's you said it better than I will ever. So so just like a recap what the Stan said. So I really want to learn like a depression, right? So depression, you can do think of how you can do experiment in a laboratory, right? You can't just bring the people like come into the lab, we do the scan. We don't do that. We don't do human. Then you're gonna have to read that depression, for example, there's a literature suggests the amygdala function is something is wrong. Can we get the cells from the amygdala, do some experiment? That can do, right? So I think just if you ask me, say I want to find treatment for Alzheimer's disease, I said good luck, right? But if you come in here and say Alzheimer's disease, there's so many unsolved questions. I want to dive into one particular question. Say like, is it really true antioxidant going to protect you? So you really like strip everything down to a very, very simple idea. The idea can be tested in laboratory settings.
Yeah, that's very good, very good. Great discussion. So, I think we answered the question. Yeah, we don't have to be in person.
Yeah.
And then chemistry and bio background. Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
put, yeah. So, if the parents want to know more the details, we have I'm going to share with you, we have a gigantic document. And if you
Yeah.
sign up as a parent inquiry, the system will automatically send it to you. And we put as requirements is age 14 and it has a basic bio knowledge. But I will
Right.
have Dr. Wu elaborate
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah. So let me first answer Andy's question, right? So
Okay.
eighth grader student better really interested in understand neuroscience and applying it to AI robotic.
Hmm.
We don't do robotics, but we do use a lot of the artificial intelligence help us to determine some mutations, how this mutation associated with Alzheimer's disease, with different disease, because human sequencing, right? So the genetic counseling, like you can just get a sample used to send to what's the 23andMe. Now you can just send to Illumina, maybe for $1,000, you sequence your whole gene. When that come back, you compare to the normal sequence, they will tell you you had this variant, you had that variant. Then the question is, are you going to determine that variant is deleterious or is it benign? And so we have like an active program going on to using the AlphaFold, the AI to establish some algorithm. Then we can run the program and tell you, okay, and Andy, you had this variant, but based on our prediction, you don't have to worry about. In other cases, they say, yeah, you are so young, you had this mutation, you need to begin to think about how to taking care of yourself. So I think this is the beauty of artificial intelligence and can build a large model to help making some predictions on matters related to human uh, health, right?
Yeah. But
Kevin asked, yeah, go ahead,
yeah,
Dan.
yeah. So Dr. Wu, for publication that you were required the age of 16, right?
Age,
Yeah.
do
Under
I
16, can they put their name beyond one of the publications?
I think so. Like if they're doing some like, for example, AI, they don't need to do wet lab, have no exposure to like a virus to pathogens. They can publish it. They can publish when they are 13, right? If they yeah
Oh, okay. Really?
yeah
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So as
Yeah.
long as it doesn't involve like a wet lab, doesn't involve all this liability we had to answer.
Okay. So even though it's
Mhm.
under 16, they can publish.
Yeah.
Their name
Mhm.
can be on the paper.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
Kevin asked like chemistry and biology background. If you had them, perfect, absolutely helpful. If you don't, like I said, biology, I want to strip down to the bare minimum. I said you don't have to remember like how many events a fruit fly had to have. I want you to remember the central dogma of biology that can apply to cancer, immunology, neuroscience. So I wouldn't worry about that, Kevin. What you want.
Yeah,
Psychology,
Kevin.
neuroscience.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eva talk psychology and neuroscience, also feel computational neuroscience. Yeah. So turn on the Eva. I want to hear you asking me the question.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'm currently a college freshman at NYU with like major academic interest in philosophy and psychology, but I'm also quite interested in neuroscience because I feel like it adds a really important aspects of understanding human behavior, like how the mind translates to physical body.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm confused about like how do I actually determine if I'm a good fit to the neuroscience program? Because I'm pretty confused about like the boundary between psychology and neuroscience. And do you have any suggestions for students to like know about what they are really interested in?
You are not alone. I'm confused about the boundary between psychology and the neuroscience. But as you can see, like one slides I put together, Harvard, Stanford, UPenn, even their business school, they want to using neuroscience to help them, want to like using neuroscience to help them make a better decision, make a in business or in other aspect. So I probably know as much as I probably don't know as much as you do about physiology of psychology. I think that's a really fascinating area. But on the other hand, the way we think, the way we make a decisions, this is all happening in our brain, right? So there's always biology behind those processes. Exactly like how we can go about to study this. I have no clue. You probably know better than I do.
Thank you so much. And another question is on computational neuroscience. As I saw, like this is also under neuroscience department, but I feel like
Yeah.
the skills they need are mostly on like mathematical modeling. So I'm wondering how much neurosciences are like actually put into work of this field and basically like what's the goal or frontier of this field like and like why they're using this computational like way.
Okay. The computational neuroscience. So what happens in our brain, we have what we call circuitry, right?
Mhm.
And so we want to use a computer to do the measurement, like at any given time or any given stimulus, how many neurons fire, right?
Mhm.
And so we can't count the hand by hand, one by one. We had to come up with a model, use computer to do all this like the modeling, right? So say
I see.
there's like a depression, some area of the brain really is like a CT, the loss of electricity, they go dark. I want to
Mhm.
know in that area how many circuitry are exactly affected, right? So this is like a computational neuroscience, a huge, huge area, and it's not my expertise. I can't really answer beyond that.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much, Professor Wu.
Thank you, Eva.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Dr. Wu, I have one more question. So I know we're running out of time. What's the also cognitive science and neuroscience? Can you elaborate a little bit
Yeah.
on the difference? Mhm.
Cognitive science is a branch of neuroscience.
Okay.
So that just basically focus on learning and memory.
Ah, got it.
If you have dementia, if you have Alzheimer's disease, your cognition will be affected.
Ah,
So
okay.
then you want to see in the brain what neurons, what areas are responsible for learning and memory.
Mm. Okay, okay, very interesting. Okay, so here, yeah, if so, we shared the Dr. Wu's program on our website. So this is what Dr. Wu put together. Will be the key topics will be taught through the group session. So, so now I have a question for Dr. Wu, and students can work as a team, pick any of these, right?
Yeah, so this is more like a area. So
Mm-hmm.
if so they really need to I don't want to want the student to just come in to learn the technique, right?
Mm.
I want them to come up with a question, say like I really want to get an answer to this question. Along that question, then we say we need this technique, that technique. Then you don't have to just for the sake of learning technique to learn the technique. This is just not very efficient. So
Mm-hmm.
again, my guiding philosophy is I want the student use their brain to think, to come up with some ideas. Or maybe if you don't have ideas, we can talk about lecture. Then during the time, you say, oh yeah, that's interesting. I want to dig into more. So
Mm.
hopefully somehow I can inspire you to say, yeah, this is really interesting. I want to invest time, effort to get to the bottom of that.
Mm.
So when you have that line for thinking, then we can say, in order to do that, we need to do experiment A, B, C. A need one technique, B need the other technique. So you don't want to learn the technique for the sake of learning technique. You will never be able to learn or master all the techniques. Just as we go, you need that technique, we go out to find that technique, right? Use
Mm.
technique to service you, not the other way around. I don't want that you become a technician per se. I want to use a scientist, not a technician.
Okay, very good, very good. How about computer skills like sorting out data? Do
Yeah,
the students need to know how to Python skills? Do you have some requirements on that?
yeah. So for example, machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
So we have like one example, we're looking at animal behavior, like
Mm.
how animal learn, how animal remember. And used to like we do that manually. Now like I want computerize everything. So every move by that mouse, you need to convert to a data. You need to come up with some quantitative measurement. So this is
Mm.
why the computer skill. I'm very bad at computer skill, but I think this is the future of neuroscience. By the way, anybody ever follow the Winter Olympic, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you see the jumper up in the air, so now the AI can mark the position, the elbow, mark the position, the shoulder.
Wow.
Is very scary, but this is I guess eventually like everybody's all going to be digitized, right? So the data collect and tell what you're thinking, where you're going to go, right? So I don't like that, but I think this is the future we're going like this. Now we go to the airport, we have the facial scan, and maybe like a few years from now, they don't need that. They just we already know every move of you. You can just check in, like go through the checkline, right?
Wow.
But the benefit that the more digitized, the more quantitative that help you to model, like for example, Alzheimer's disease, right? So I want to see the patient how they sleep. You don't want to disturb them. You don't want to turn on the light. You want to find some computer model to 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 find what's the best way to help intervene, right? So, for example, a drug come to the clinic, right? You're doing clinical trial with the AI that can help you immensely, right? So all this data can be much more quantitative rather than you bring the old poor old man like, do you remember what you eat last supper, right? And the man may or may not remember. But if you have computerized everything, then probably all the data is already there.
Yeah, wow, fascinating. So, yeah, I think we put a very nice FAQ together, our team. Thank you, Dr. Wu, for your guidance. However, I'm not sure whether we put the Python. Do you require students coming in with Python programming skills? No.
No,
Okay.
no. If
Okay.
they, I mean, nowadays the kids they are so smart. If they
Hmm.
want to learn Python, they probably 3 nights they can master
Mm.
that. So
Okay.
I don't think I don't worry about they don't know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, for our UC Berkeley summer camp, we have a test.
Okay. Yeah.
That's more engineering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, any other questions? We're pretty much on time. Okay, one more.
One last question. I noticed that says the data will be provided from UCSD lab. Does this mean we are selecting from pre-existing? So the question is no, because we actively doing research, right? It's not like we generate a whole bunch of data just waiting for you guys come in to do the analysis. But if we can um, dedicate that part of the job to you guys, you're helping the research, right?
Okay.
Does
So the
that
que
answer your
yeah,
question? Yeah,
yeah, I understand what the parents I can re ask in a different way. The key question is that if our students do not go to the lab to do the experiments for their hypothesis, so you and the student figure out this is a great hypothesis, a research topic. Let's do it. And will the lab graduate students, undergraduate students do the experiments for them, or how do
I
we get the data? Yeah, go ahead.
I see. Oh, okay. So that's like I don't know how to so let me put another way. I think come up with a novel hypothesis is great. I always encourage that.
Mm-hmm.
But in biology, if you only have hypothesis, you don't have experimental proof, the hypothesis still remain a hypothesis, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can just find a paper, find a journal, only publish theoretical neuroscience. We can just talk about how hypotheses. So if that happen, I think we probably had to compromise when come but when it's time to the authorship. That suppose you come up with this hypothesis, you can't really commit the time to do the experiment. We have student did the experiment in the end prove your hypothesis is correct. So we can write the paper together, right? Now the authorship, how are we going to decide this, right?
Yeah,
So
how
I
do you
think
decide that?
so I think it's only fair we do a co-first author, right?
Okay. Very, very good. Okay, I think we answered the parents' question. If this is a very novel idea that data need to be collected, the students who older students, college kids who have access to the lab can help. Yeah, I think it's very good. So how big is the cohort? Yeah. I think we are up to 8 students, whatever, but one student's already signed up. We'll start with 1 student, 2 students, 3 students. Yeah.
Yeah.
The train is leaving, which is March 7th.
Hmm.
Okay, any other questions? How about, okay, tuition fee, since we only work with parents for tuition fee, let me see. I will give you the link right here, the moment for the parents, because there's a guardianship as well, right?
Hmm.
And you can fill out automatically, you receive all research programs. But lots of them that we are not starting yet, or it's already over. You will get a whole combined, whatever, 50, 60 pages. Dr. Wu's at the end. And then we'll have a combined spreadsheet with all the cost, very transparent, everything sent to you. Yeah. So anything else? Okay, so if you all like the sharing, and regardless whether you will be joining Dr. Wu's program, that's completely fine. Hopefully, you can give us a nice Google review. Would appreciate it, and so we can invite more speakers to support our students, college students and high school students. So anyway,
Can
yeah, Dr.
can I have
Wu.
the last word?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of
So I
course.
want to thank everybody to join us in the Friday night. And and whether you are parents or student, if you are the parents, you encourage your student go out to do things, to interact with people. Don't confine them to their own cocoon, right? So this is a lesson I learned. This is a lesson I did with my son. And if you are the student, don't be shy. Ask questions. Think. Use your brain. Use it like a. I go back. The brain is a terrible thing to waste.
Yeah,
Put it into good use and be more outspoken. And if anybody, whether you want to join or not join the program, still want to communicate with me, you can just email me, text me, and I'll be more than happy to chat or discuss any issues, right?
yeah.
I just realized I'm too old before I learned this. I wish I learned this when I was your age,
Yeah.
in
We're
terms like a talk, present, make your idea cross, right? So this is believe me, The sooner you practice, the sooner you get good at, you will get into good grad school, you get to med school, no problem. If you just don't break that ice, you're going to have a very difficult time.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. I know, students and parents, we are all very lucky to have access to Dr. Wu's expertise. Most of them even don't want to talk to undergraduate students. And I can tell you with my son, UC Berkeley research, never talked to professor, only postdoc. I have neighbor ECS, UC Berkeley professor said, I don't want to deal with undergraduate students. Okay. So we are very, very lucky to access Dr. Wu, who is passionate about supporting younger students and to teach them how to do research and how to collaborate. So thank you, Dr. Wu, and Happy New Year to all of you. And
Thank you, Danda.
yeah,
Thank you, Andy.
yeah, thank you. Okay, talk to you soon. Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.